we spoke to. Someone says when I have my quiet time, makes me happy. Someone says money makes me happy. Someone says, well, if I am treated nicely, it makes me happy. If I feel loved, it makes me happy. For you, what is happiness?
Thank you very much, Isra. These are all true. Yes, we have short-lived happiness and we have a long, term happiness.
Mm-hmm.
So the long-term one we'll be looking at is self-actualization.
Okay.
Having accomplished, what you want to, have in this life. And we have the physical needs and then the spiritual, needs. If these needs are met, we are happy.
Wonderful.
Let me also say that happiness is our birthright. Okay, nature goes ahead to provide our needs even before we arrive in this world. Even in our mother's womb, we were nourished, our needs were met.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment we arrive, on this earth, too, our needs are met. The first air we breathe, the breast milk, we suck, they are all provided.
Right.
Even before we arrive, So happiness is our birthright, and it's for everyone. It's for everyone. We also look at the things we do that deprive us of happiness.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be exploring all of those. Annie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to engage with you, my brother.
Always.
You cry. Do you ever get sad?
Well, yeah, I guess sad. I mean, for example, like this morning, one of the things that really make me sad sometimes is the fact that things have to be done and they're not done right. I've been ranting about and raving about the motorway for a campaign that you guys are also involved in. It's like, why can't it be fixed? It doesn't sit well with me and my spirit and all that. But yeah, beyond that, I mean, for me, I have grown to come to a certain level that, I'm human. I go through phases, but I don't allow those things to dominate my spirit, and like the voices you play, I was listening to some of them. People are talking about if they have a lot more money, then they are happy. Somebody says when they do A, B, C, for me, yeah, if money, I need money to do things, but at the end of the day, you ask yourself whether or not that is the end goal, because there'll be times you'll be chasing the money and you kind of forget what is really important to you as a human being, So for me, I try to find little things in joy in little things. For example, like going to sit with. I live not too far from the beach. You know where I live
in Pram.
Yeah, in Pram. So
I'm often very jealous.
So sometimes, for example, like like the day is not going right, I go and sit with the fishermen with my kids. I will sit there and just listen to them with their nets, with child to talk about fishing and things like that, and trying to see life from that perspective, and it gives you that reawakening that, look, the thing that you are even bothering about, you have more than what these people have, but look at their situation, look at them, they are very happy people and all of that. They go through phases a moment because it's natural. However, you do not allow those things to dominate it. A lot of people ask me the same thing. Do you actually get sad? Yeah, do you worry because it looks like you are every day you're bubbly and all of that? I go through my moment, but I always find a way to to deal with them. I try not to allow them to dominate me as a person, and the way I've also I was brought up, and also growing up, the kind of things I see, I try to more or less interact a lot more with the environment, so I do not necessarily. So for me, like the things people ignore, I like. For example, I can go and sit in a church, for example, and once I'm there, like I'm listening to the bits and pieces of the gossip and things like it gives me ideas about life, people's life experiences. I can get up, go and sit at the watcher seller's place. People are playing draft in my community. You go there, people are playing draft, and the way the draft is going, the one who's dominating is using a lot of jargons and all those things. Sometimes I could go to. There was a time I actually went all the way to Bukom. With my camera, they go and sit there in the evening and to hear the poetic phrases from the Gan woman for their children or their husband. And I find a lot of satisfaction and joy in that. And so maybe later I will, it's not like they're insulting them, but it's like, this is who we are, this is our culture and things. I go there to listen to support music and see other kids dancing. And then you know that in the space where they find themselves, they are very happy. So it depends. So for me, I always tell people, for example, that having too much money or less money should not necessarily define what to categorize or pigeonhole you into a space where you think, okay, I'm happy today because I have money, or I'm not happy. You know, it varies. We are all footballers. For example, like you're an Arsenal fan, I'm an Arsenal fan. How many times Arsenal will lose a game, man? I'm so angry. There are times too, like.
And then you do your one-eyed powder.
I do my one-eye powdered analysis when Arsenal wins. You know, but I mean that's space. But Arsenal will win, will lose. I'll be a bit sad and upset. I'll go to bed middle of the night, and then I'll have a whole analysis of the game in my head, and I wake up, have a laugh, and move on.
That's interesting. It's quite interesting, Solomon. If you know Annie's, description of where he finds happiness, none of it was to a tangible thing.
Yeah.
But it seems that the world over, we are enamored by the quest to look for certain things. So I'm renting, I want to own a home. I own one home, I want to have a couple. I have one car, I want two. I get married, and then I want children. I have one child, I want two. I live in some area, I want to move to another area. And of course, if you put all of these things into Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the basics being food, clothing, and shelter, and then all the other things leading to self-actualization. But can one actually achieve self-actualization without necessarily owning anything tangible that they can say, by society's standard, I have arrived?
Yes, it is possible. We have, like you said, things not tangible. If we're able to perform acts of kindness, if we're able to, love ourselves, love others, we will achieve, happiness. The true state of our being is bliss. We have love, we have we have affection, and yes, of course, we can achieve, happiness without going through all these, levels. That is for those who have certain training. Yeah, if you have certain training, you can achieve it. Others too will identify with the physical, needs. They need that car, they need that building, that house. So if it's absent in their lives, then they will feel that lack, in their lives. Yeah.
Now, Solomon, to you again, so the physical needs will persist. I mean, is it at all possible that a person can train themselves to be happy? Is it something you need to work at? Like you would have to work on your cognitive to have a sound mind, to be able to acquire skill. Can you acquire a constant ability to generate happiness?
Exactly, we can. It's a positive emotion that stems from events and being content, with whatever you have. And, it's because emotion is a feeling. Okay, so we're also in a world where we are being bombarded by a lot of negativities around us. Those negativities around us and what we also generate can be transmuted into positive, emotions and feelings. For instance, we can transmute, hatred into love. Yeah, we can transmute despair into hope. We can transmute darkness, into light. And a typical example is the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. Yeah, this is a great technology we use, to build love, happiness, harmony within us. If we can also let go of these negative emotions through acts of forgiveness and practicing gratitude, happiness will naturally be there. It's already there, but it's for us to connect with it. Yeah, so we have a lot of technologies like meditation, prayer, and what have you. Someone said if they are in the presence of God, they feel happy. Yeah, presence of God, I see it as not something we move into. It's already there. It's for us to connect everywhere, in the bedroom, in the bathroom, in the streets, at work. God is present, omnipresent at all times. And if you're able to connect with God, and how do we connect with God? It is through the practice of virtues. Okay, it is vices that separates us from the source. If you're able to build, virtues, character building. Will always be all connected, with God presence. Yeah.
Annie, is happiness a journey or a destination?
I mean, it's a journey because you go through phases as a human being, and it is never completed, because it's like there are days. I mean, there are moments where, for example, like I talked about the fact that you are sad. I mean, for example, I've lost both my parents, and sometimes I'm there and I think about them and the sadness, but momentarily it ends there. I try to find something to walk into because I do not have control over bringing them back to life. If I have, then that is where I'm going to say, for example, that I have the power, I'm not using it, but I have no control over it. But I just try to look at the memories that we shared growing up, like especially with my mom because she was a single parent. And so those are the things that I hold on to. She walking me to the landing beach, and she's interacting with fishermen to get their fish to sell because she was a fishmonger as well. So those are the things I look back on and I laugh. And sometimes, recently I was telling my wife about like the kind of things my mother used to tell me that you look at you like a very, I was being stubborn. They said she prays that the wife I marry will be able to put some sense in my head, and I had a good laugh about that,
Yeah, and it's quite interesting that for you, your ability to bounce back from moments of sadness or the lack of happiness is that you make a decision to start thinking about certain things. So does it therefore mean that we all have the capacity to be happy, and that it takes a decision?
Yes, we all do have the capacity to be happy. Yeah, like I said, remove ourselves, from happiness. We dwell on low vibrations.
Okay.
Unforgiveness, lack of gratitude, lack of acknowledging our weak points and our strengths. Yes. So if you're able to, for instance, someone is a pain in the neck, it's going to make you unhappy. What is the solution? The solution is to free yourself from emotional entanglement.
Okay.
Yeah, so the act of forgiveness is very powerful. It frees you, not them. Just free yourself. You are always, you are pained because of someone's attitude towards you. You are pained because of the attitude of a narcissist, someone who feeds off your sadness, your sorrow. So the solution is to free yourself from emotional entanglement. And you only do this through the act of blessings, the act of forgiveness. If you're able to bless, you transmute negativities into positivity. If you're able to also practice gratitude, being grateful for the little things you have around you wake up in the morning, you give thanks for life. I mean, life is priceless. So no matter how much money you have, if you do not have life, how are you going to enjoy it? So you give thanks for life, you give thanks for the space where you occupy, the very bed you sleep on, you give thanks for it, your clothes, little things. Even though the Jew someone served you the other day, you express gratitude. If you're able to express gratitude, you're going to attract more of the things you earn for. And if such needs are met, there'll be more happiness. Yeah. Ingratitude will always bring us pain. Okay, unforgiveness will also bring us pain. Low self-esteem will take away the happiness we yearn for. So it is for us to improve our self-esteem and be happy. The feeling that we are not important, not worthwhile, we need to have a good connection with our own self. Yeah, connecting with self. If I say self, you see, we are beyond this body. Okay, if I wave my hand right now, I am waving my hand. Who is waving the hand? I. So is the I the same as this hand? I has a hand. These are two different things. So there are physical needs and there are spiritual needs. And the spiritual need is connecting with self, knowing who you are, your true nature. Okay? And your true nature, bliss, higher happiness, love, virtues, all the good things. All the good things. It says that we are created in His image. So creating His image for me is not two eyes, one, character. So it's about virtues. If you're able to build character, you always be happy and you live in harmony with nature. Living in harmony with nature means you abide by nature's laws. And the only way to put this into practice is practicing the golden rule. Whatever you want, give it.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was just about to ask Anny that, there's this concept of paying it forward. And, if I'm good to somebody today, someone will be good to me tomorrow. But you often find that, they also say that people who are nice tend to be very unhappy because people abuse their niceness. And, do you subscribe to this notion that if you can be the light of joy in an environment, that energy is returned to you?
Well, absolutely. Unfortunately, some people look at it in the form of monetary incentive. So, for example, okay, I know Insura is helping me out, or Insura is helping somebody out, or somebody is helping Insura out, and then the person feels like, okay, at some point Insura will come back to me with money. But the joy and the satisfaction is maybe Insura is setting off a young chap in his community, and then he can look back and he say, wow, I'm so happy that the little contribution I made into this guy's life is pushing him to go further. And it's also extending it to others. It may not necessarily come back to you, but it has opened the child to a world where it's like ordinarily you wouldn't have gotten to, so, but we live in a society currently, and it's social media and all of that. And my brother talked about it. There are people who have this mindset, for example, that so far, even if I support you, you must come with some strings attached to it. So you ask yourself whether or not it's like it's the fact that you're pushing the person to go up and for the person to come and thank you. If the person doesn't come back to you, then you're very sad. You are hurt because like you did good with the expectation that I'm going to get something in return. If that doesn't happen, then that's where the sadness comes in. But when you feel like, look, it is right and it's part and parcel of our being as a people, that if we are in a position, we should be able to push others to move on and leapfrog us and even move further without necessarily getting monetary incentive. You are happy. I'll give you an example. There was somewhere around 2017, 2018. There's a kid I seen in the street. So anytime I stop by, I buy from him. So that he became my friend. We started talking, we started interacting and things like that. So then he said, he has problem with his rent, and I told, okay, when I'm paid, I'll sort you out. I sorted him out. So from time to time, I'll give him something. I'll send something to his mother. I don't expect anything. Then recently, I needed to do something. So I was going through my phone. I remember that I had a conversation with him some months ago, and he said, oh, I'm at this place, so in case you need some assistance, just call me. So I was going through my phone. I remember that, oh, I know this SMS from this place. So I just dialed his number. And I said, oh, Charlie, this is but I'm going to send you the money to do it for me. And even before I sent the money, the guy went out of his way to pay for it. And I knew this guy as far back as 2017, 18. He was on the street. But it's off the street. Though what he did for me, I paid for it. But what I'm saying is, for example, at the time when I did that, I was not expecting that some way, somehow, our path will meet again in that space. And I was not expecting any monetary incentive. But if I were to be, for example, like looking forward to money, and 4 or 5 years I don't hear from him, I'll be very disappointed to the extent that even at a time when he's in a position to even help me or facilitate something for me that I'm going to pay for, I'll close myself to that. You understand? But I did that because I'm the beneficiary of the generosity of other people. So I should be in a position to be able to extend that to people. And for me, I had derived a lot of joy in that. I'll give you an example. Recently, in Pram, there was a game they were playing futsal game, like football. And so around June, they got in touch with my cousin who runs a YouTube channel in Pram City TV to get involved. So when we went in, I told him that, Charlie, this is good. Let's push them. Let's not just go there and watch and take pictures. So we started live streaming the matches. We started live streaming the matches. And it started building support. So when we are finished, I was just trying to pack up the things and go home. And then I saw this woman, she was telling someone on the phone in a language that Omone in Juani, like today, I made a lot of sales. And how much did she make? 400 Ghana cedis. But that same space, I went home, I was really, really impressed. I was very happy that, Charlie, we are doing something good. And the good thing is that this woman knows, for example, that there's a market here. I will come. And the game has been consistent, been going on, and every day people come. And you have yogurt sellers, young business people come. Somebody is selling Browning Cartier. And they all come and they sell and they go away. So for me, my involvement is the fact that you see the community thriving in this particular space where this woman will come and she has both fruit, she has a chomo, she has dish, and she's selling. She's also be able to make some money, go home and support her home. And so for me, there's something that personally make me happy. And when I got into the league, me and my cousin were like, this guy don't need this. What can we do? We know some people. Let's start writing letters and build and see how we can support some of these people. So we wrote letters, got 1 or 2 sponsorship and things like that. Thankfully, 2 of the kids were able to push them into academies. They are not even relatives of ours, but we saw them on the page. We devoted our time. Now, these guys, I'm praying that when they move on, they also go and they take off and they'll come back to the community and support. And that is why it becomes a circle of love and growth, and we open the society up. So for me, it has never been about money, but trying to sort of be there to also extend the courtesy or the love that you got from other people, to be able to push others to go without expecting that they'll come back to come and say thank you to you. No, not at all.
It's 27 minutes past 8, and this is the Asasi Breakfast Show. I'm Kweko Nshirado, the Rainmaker, and we're asking, is happiness possible for everyone? In the studio with us is Solomon Prana and Anny Osabutey, our guest this morning. Lily Will sends a message in to say happiness isn't all about money. If not, celebrities who have millions in popularity wouldn't commit suicide or ever have suicidal thoughts. Make life simple for yourself. Now, that last line says a lot. Make life simple for yourself. But if I make my life simple, I don't compare myself to what other people have and flaunt. I don't crave to go and have something that is beyond me. So I'm living in my space. I'm content, and I have gratitude every day for what I have. But there are people who we will meet who, for some reason or the other, vibrate at a certain level that brings us a lot of headache. Can one be happy in an environment where a lot of unhappiness exists?
You can, yes and no. Sometimes it is good to let some persons go. Yeah, you forgive. It's not working, you take a decision. Yeah, if you also allow that love, peace to well up, in you, you begin to radiate, vibrate, that energy, and those whose energy are incompatible with yours naturally will fall off. Yeah, you attract what you vibrate. Right. Yeah, all the time you are attracting what you vibrate. So yes, love itself protects you. And from what Anny said, you ask a question, you sow here, must you reap at that same? No, you sow here, you may reap somewhere else, and there is no service or no giving that goes unrewarded.
Okay,
you may receive it in various ways. Yeah, it may open a door for you. Sometimes you may not even be aware that this act of kindness is what has opened a door for you. And we should always practice detachment. All suffering comes from attachment, and practicing detachment does not mean do not attach. It means attach, but know when to detach. Yeah, I'm a man. Let me talk from my point of view. We have this thing, not me. I have grown above that. People say, oh, if you leave me, I go die. Yeah, and truly they leave you, you feel very empty, and it's like your world has come to an end. It shouldn't happen, so you should know that there's life, and that source of life, if we are connected to that source of life, we are always fulfilled. We shouldn't allow people to drain us of our energy, become empty, and leading to happiness and all that. Yeah, we should always be connected with the source of life. If you are connected, we'll always be happy. Yeah.
Right, it's 30 minutes past 8. Let's hear from you. Join us on this very important conversation as we seek to understand what truly makes us happy. How do you find happiness? And what's the price one should pay for happiness? The number is 020 9951 or 059-415-7777. Let's hear your thoughts. And you can also use our Facebook stream and drop your messages and comments on the, as well as our WhatsApp line. Share those thoughts with us, and we'll read it and share it with the entire world. This is the Asasi Breakfast Show, and we're asking the question: is happiness for all? Can we all find happiness? Solomon, I like the point you just raised now, and Annie, I would like to, let's look at your life.
Yep.
The part that we can all observe. Today you're here, tomorrow you're hiking, you're doing this, and your children look happy.
Yeah.
Your family looks happy. Did you make a conscious decision, or this is just something that you wake up and then by some cosmic inspiration you do these things?
Okay. I think it's the way I was brought up. People are surprised the way I have turned out to be, because I was brought up by a single parent, right? And the environment, and I spent 10 years of my life on the street and fishing.
Okay.
No school, nothing. And I did a lot of homeschooling. My mother never went to school or anything like that.
Okay.
So I started having somewhat of form of a discipline when I moved in with my brother in the 90s. Okay. And so it was not easy, because I was living in an open space. You go to fishing on the street and all of that. And then here you're still staying with your brother. You are confined to a house. You need to stay home, and you want to jump a wall
And go out.
And
Hold that thought for a second. Ahmed is joining us on the line from Tamale. Ahmed, good morning.
Sir, good morning.
Thank you for the call. Tell us what's on your mind. What makes you happy, and what price are you willing to pay to find that happiness?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I think this is a very interesting topic we are discussing. I know happiness comes in different forms, just as they are all saying. But I take solace in the fact that when you wake up in the morning, you are able to put a smile on someone's face in any way. The person is in need of something that you think you are in the right position to provide. I think that's the best way I feel I get myself being happy throughout the day. It's so pathetic. Sometimes you see someone who is in dire need of something that you can afford, or that one can afford, but as society is, we all don't think at the same level. You see people having something that others are not privy to, or others are not capable of having, but they're still denying. So I feel like doing something within your community, doing something within your comfort zone that will have some positive impact in the lives of others, I think that's what makes me happy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we've got Majesty on the line. Good morning, Majesty. What's on your mind this morning?
Yeah, good morning. Yeah.
Yes, Majesty, you're on air.
No?
You are on air, Majesty. Speak.
Yeah, all I can say is speak from everyone for a particular people. And if I say it's not for a particular people, some people like this, and then they go and take money, or some people can afford something. That's also not happiness. You can be a house, but you can't clean. Every day they are outside. They cannot be happy. They are happiness one, but they don't take care of happiness. Yeah.
Great. Thanks very much for the call, Majesty. And who do we have? We go to Kumasi. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Who do we have this morning?
Hello?
Yes, speak up. Who do we have? What's your name?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, being happiness is about how you have confidence and how you can control yourself and link yourself to certain individuals who can motivate and encourage you. Happiness is not about something that you can buy for or somebody can make it. Yes, somebody can still you with happiness, but in you yourself, it depends the way you live and how you cooperate yourself with the society. As I'm speaking to you, yes, as I'm hearing it over your program over there, it really motivates me. And I was trying to even have these type of people in my life. As I'm speaking to you, Mr. and I completed nursing clinical. Although I was able to maneuver my way out, I passed the license and I couldn't get money to pay and have myself as I'm speaking to you. But I'm still praying hard and linking myself through people for help. Yes, that one can make you stressful in society, but you need to still pray about it and see how the people can come into your life. So happiness is about the way you consider yourself.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that call. Solomon and Annie, it's quite interesting that nobody in all of this has said that owning a home, a car, or having lots of money is how they get happiness.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that the fact that we can generate happiness from within, does that mean that happiness must exist in the absence of, say, stress, for example?
In the absence of stress, I think you can be under undue pressure, stress, and still be happy. There is always stress. Okay, stress is a psychological and emotional response, to things that happen around us. Okay, so Annie is driving through the traffic. He is very relaxed. Okay, and taking it easy. Another person is also driving through the heavy traffic, and he's upset because the traffic is quite heavy. Yeah, there's some go slow on the road, or there is some heap of work on your desk at work. You see it and you go like, this is too much work for me. Someone who loves his job will also sit down, be calm, and go through file by file. So it's about response to what we see as stress. Yeah, so one can be happy. There is stress. Okay, it's about having the energy to ride over stress or to overtake stress. There is always stress, and psychologists say we need some amount of stress to make things happen as a jump start. Yeah, so in the face of stress, you still can be
you still can be happy.
Can be happy.
Well, we have a comment from Mrs. Annie. It says, I think happiness is being present in the moment and not letting past or present stress you. And being with our kids allows us to be really in the moment and find joy in the little things, such as finding the tadpoles or being out in the sun. They bring out the kid in us, which brings out happiness. Does it mean, let me just, and thanks very much, Whitney, for your input. I know you're driving now, otherwise we would have called you for your thoughts on a couple of things. But, Annie, does that mean, and we've talked about childlike faith, every child thinks their father can beat anyone in the world, or their mother can do anything, and kids are always happy. Should we always look to children for inspiration or look to our childhood memories? What can we hold on to ensure that we are always generating happiness from within?
Well, I think it's a childlike thing, like you said. Every child thinks that the father is the best ever. You understand? You are walking and there's a wild dog coming, for example. You, the dad, you are afraid, but you're walking the child. You don't want to create the impression, for example, that because the child in the mind thinks that my dad will protect me from this. Yeah. So that feeling that I can do something is there, and it gives you that pleasure. Wit talks about taking the kids out. Sometimes we walk up and say we are going to look for tadpoles, so we just walk like yesterday afternoon. We just walk all day looking for tadpoles because we are seeing them Saturday morning, and they went back to the same place, and vehicles had passed there, so they are all gone. So we circle around the whole neighborhood, and we ended up at a friend's pub. We just sat there, and they were playing, So I mean, they didn't care about anything. They just want to enjoy and be children. And as human beings, I think that sometimes that's the space they find themselves. They are very happy, and you also look on, and for example, that it's a phase for you. I mean, there are people who talk about childhood trauma because they never experienced the joy of growing up. So they feel like, okay, I've been deprived of certain things, and so I didn't develop well. So children provide you with a lot of inspiration. I mean, for me, like I always tell before that anytime I go home, and it can stress you too sometimes, but then you sit back and you're like, wow, I love this kid. Like my son, like for example, like we're going somewhere, he stopped. I said, let's go. He said, oh, you know, go. If you make a step, you'll cry. Then he stand on like, Charlie, I'm trying to like, okay,
we need to get somewhere.
Yeah. But then you also remember he's a child and he's living in his world. So you need to kind of tag along. So when I was kind of like, wow, I'm missing these kids already. So you find yourself in that space. And there are a lot of those things in our communities. Sometimes a friend of mine took a photograph of a kid. So we're going through the things and a picture popped up. And he saw it and he sat back. And at the time, he was going through a lot of stress and this job, some way. But when he came across that picture, he just sat back like that. But the child was smiling. And the child was sitting in the dirt and he was just enjoying life. He ended up framing that picture. So he tells me till date that anytime, Charlie, he feels so not all right, he goes back to the living room, look at that picture. Because within that space, you may think that the child finds a happiness in that space. So time we live the moment with our children. So you often hear, for example, like children want to live the dreams of their parents, not necessarily because their parents failed or whatever, but they feel like, look, if I look at this child, I could see myself in them, and it's their life. Let them take off, let them enjoy. So I try to manage that. We go look for that, but sometimes you can go to the beach, and you're going there, and this guy, the waves are high, the tide are high. You want to go in there and swim, but it's a child. And we're like, in that mindset, like, you can overcome everything and anything. So I look at them and that's how I operate. I've always been like that, but I thank God that they like outdoor. We can go out, walk around, and sometimes some of the silly people call me like, why you guys cry? I saw you and the kids were walking somewhere where we're going to look for butterfly.
It's the little things.
Yeah, the little things. And you come and you realize that they are overly excited. And you know that you've done your job as a parent, and you can sit back before you look at, okay, what do they eat? What do they do? All those things.
Yeah.
Because that's what the food and things, you have to provide for them.
True.
Yeah,
Right.
The rest, you should be ready to add on to it. Yeah.
You just heard the voice of Anny Osabutey, is a communication specialist and a journalist. We're discussing happiness. Is it possible for everyone? And what is the price of happiness? Can you have happiness in spite of stress and everyday, the vagaries of life? Or the vicissitudes, rather. Solomon Prana is a naturopath and a pranic healing trainer. And he mentioned earlier that, some people have suffered some trauma as children and therefore have difficulty enjoying life and just basically being happy. I'm going to come to you in a moment for you to help us understand, how does one heal from past trauma in order to be able to open that spring of joy and happiness from within? You can join us with your own thoughts and comment via WhatsApp on our Facebook stream, and you can also call 020 000 9951 or 059 415 7777. Are you happy? Now, to the question of healing.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all had some interesting things happen to us as a child. Some people were bullied by their friends in school. Some people were mistreated by step-parents and step-siblings and all sorts, and have carried the trauma on. But there's healing.
Yeah.
How do you heal?
Yes. Beyond this body, we have what you call the energy body. Okay. I'll explain. Yeah, it's a luminous light that surrounds every one of us, and scientists like Semyon Davidovich Kellyan has made this known to the public in the scientific community with the help of Kellyan camera, a camera that can capture the image of this luminous light that surrounds every one of us. Within this luminous light, we have certain energy centers or psychic centers that stores, emotions like love, anger, and what have you. So trauma is stored in certain energy centers within our energy field. Pranic psychotherapy is a great technology for removing trauma, for removing stress, anxiety, depression. All the psychological problems can be handled by what you call pranic, psychotherapy. Another technology is the technology of forgiveness. It's a tool we can use. We do not say with our mouth, I have forgiven myself. You need to forgive yourself. But it goes beyond saying, I have forgiven myself. There is a way we practice, this. We use visualization and certain, words, programmed sequence. You visualize your own self, through your mind's eyes, look into your own eyes, and promise yourself that you are evolving, okay? And life is about evolving. Evolution comes with a lot of mistakes, okay? And you forgive yourself, you let go of whatever happened. You are in God's presence, you receive all the positives, in this world. You receive God's blessings, you receive love, you receive, peace, you receive harmony, you receive wealth, financial, material prosperity. This is something simple we hear, but if you practice it, the feelings, that comes with it, it leaves you with some kind of feeling. Okay, so there is forgiving self and forgiving others, those who caused you that trauma. You need to forgive them, too. Yeah, if you do not forgive them, you continue to suffer. So forgive them to free yourself. I always do this. Free yourself from emotional entanglement, and you'll be at peace, with yourself. So forgiving self is very, very necessary. Your own self, you have to forgive your own self and forgive those people. When we let people practice this, the response is always, I feel lighter. I am at peace. I have more love welling up, within me. Even in the process of forgiving, some begin to feel pains in their heart. Okay, and it's very simple. These are our energies. We bring our hands to the center of our chest, with our eyes closed. This is an act of blessing. We have energy centers in our palms. Okay. And also along certain channels of the body. And when you are doing this act of blessing, you really feel the energy leaving your palms. They will leave. After this program, we can, if you have time, we can. It's instant. The result is instant. You feel it. Yeah. People hold grudge against the dead, not only the living. Yeah. And we help them to overcome, these things, by forgiving the dead. People have died 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and people are still holding grudge, against them. Wow. We've met such people, before. Forgive, let go, let go.
Now, Anny, final thoughts, and I would want you to, comment on people say, I go to my happy place. Yeah. For somebody, their happy place is in a bottle. For some people, their happy place is in coital engagement. I mean, is there such a thing as a happy place?
Yeah, I think it's personal. It's like, but then we also know, for example, like if somebody says, I find happiness in a bottle, that it's not necessarily
a slippery slope.
Exactly, but it's a way of escape something. Somebody will tell you, for example, like, oh, if I have issues, I just drink over. But you wake up and the problems are there, and you're killing yourself, for example. But like Solo is saying, you should be in a position where you forgive, you let go of things, and opened yourself up for stuff to come in. I mean, TD Jakes says something that when he was growing up, he had a car and he parked the booth with a lot of stuff. But then he was traveling along the highway. He got to a different state, and there was somebody who really wanted to. He went to an uncle, and then fortunately, from the uncle was moving away, so he had some furniture and a couple of things he wanted for him to take as a gift. But that moment his booth is packed with old stuff. So he didn't have space. So the thing that should come to him as a blessing went to a different person. So you need to let go of the old stuff in there that are standing between yourself and moving forward, and embrace the new things that will come your way. And I remember I read the book some years ago and it made so much sense to me. Like Solo said, there are people who are very angry with their parents because, for example, they didn't look after them and all that. I wouldn't say my dad didn't look after me. My dad was not in my life. But I grew up and I understood why. Because, look, he had a serious accident at work that damaged him for the rest of his life. And he never recovered. But I grew up, and my mother never told me, for example, that dad was a bad person. No. The two of them will have their issues. But I grew up and I got to know. So when my dad was alive, I took it upon myself to be able to support him till he died. But I could have held on to say, nah,
he was not part of your life.
He was not part of my life and things like that. And then I'll carry on with that anger, and every day you think about the fact that you have his name. Even if you don't have his name, you change your name, his blood runs through you. And as a human being, you think about him and you be angry. But when you open up, you live free like a bird. You hop from tree to tree. You can do anything and everything. And nothing stops you. And look, and there's a lot of joy because human beings, we are spirit beings. And the universe blesses us. And wherever they may be, their blessings will follow you every day. So for me, I've come to appreciate that. Look, like you're saying, forgiveness is key. Sometimes it's difficult to forgive because there are people who have done bad stuff to you. But the question is, for how long are you going to let the anger stay within you that you become so blind to the beauty around you? I know a friend who grew up in Rwanda when the genocide was happening, and went to New York. And I used to go with him to go and drum and play guitar and all that. And I asked him, and I said, "You, like, after you went through all this terrible stuff and things like that, but you're not angry, you're not." He said, "Look, I used to be angry before, but when I moved and I went back to Uganda, to Rwanda, and went through all the processes and got healing, I tried to look at my country in a different light. That it is not everybody who took part in the murder. That people my generation didn't even know about it. But the people who made sure that I got to America were people from a different tribe. You understand what I mean? So he opened his heart for joy and he's thriving. So for me, I've always told people that, look, forgiveness is difficult, but it is not impossible.
Fantastic. Well, we will end on that note. A big thank you to you, Solomon Prana. Solomon is a pranic healing trainer and a naturopath. And also, we've had Anny Osabutey, a communication specialist and a journalist, sharing their thoughts on how we can all find happiness. Great nuggets. You want to make sure you catch this on Asasi Extra, our YouTube page. This conversation will be there. And also on our Facebook, you can check out our videos and follow this interesting conversation. Thank you, gentlemen. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we'll continue with the Asasi Breakfast Show. We'll be exploring what BRICS means to Ghana and West Africa as a whole. And this is the Asasi Breakfast Show. And as we end this conversation about happiness, we hope that you can find some happiness wherever you are. And just like in the book of Genesis, when God decided to let all the waters that was covering the earth at the time to gather in one place, what it did was remove stuff so that the ground can yield the fruits, the trees, and the vegetation that we live with today. So get rid of all the things that are hampering your happiness. Free yourself. Forgive people. And enjoy peace in your heart. Stay with us.
Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe.